Every Sunday, my sister-in-law hosted family dinners and left us out on purpose. Sorry, it's just for close family, Tiffany said through the phone, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. I watched through my kitchen window as my mother-in-law's SUV pulled into Tiffany's driveway across the street, followed by my other sister-in-law's minivan, and even cousins from out of town. For 3 years, this had been our Sunday routine. Tiffany would host these elaborate family gatherings while we sat home, excluded. My 11-year-old daughter Ruby would press her face against our window, watching all her cousins play in Tiffany's perfectly manicured backyard. Mom, why don't they invite us? She'd ask. And honestly, I never had a good answer. The exclusion started small. Oh, we thought you were busy. Or, it was just last minute. But as weeks turned to months, it became crystal clear this was deliberate. Every Sunday, like clockwork, the entire family gathered at Tiffany's house while we watched from across the street like outsiders. That's when I decided enough was enough. 3 months earlier, Ruby and I had started a small vegetable garden in our backyard. What began as her science project had blossomed into something beautiful. Heavy kevinatos hanging from vines, fresh herbs perfuming the air, zucchini that actually tasted like something. You know what, sweetheart? I told Ruby one particularly painful Sunday. Let's start our own tradition. How about we have our own Sunday feast with food we've grown ourselves? Her face lit up instantly. Can we invite Ms. Hart from next door? She always says hi when I'm working in the garden. Ms. Hart was our elderly neighbor who'd been giving Ruby gardening tips. She lived alone and often watched with gentle interest as we tended our growing garden. That's perfect, I said, already feeling lighter. Why don't you go invite her while I start cooking? As Ruby skipped next door, I gathered fresh kevinatos, basil, and zucchini from our garden. My husband Kevin was away on another business trip. He hated the family drama, but felt trapped between supporting me and keeping peace with his sisters. An hour later, our kitchen smelled incredible. Ms. Hart sat at our counter, showing Ruby how to fold napkins into flowers, her weathered hands moving with practiced grace. You know, Ms. Hart said, adjusting her glasses, my mother used to say the best meals aren't about fancy china. They're about the love you put into the food and the joy of sharing it. Ruby beamed, carefully placing her flower napkin on our old patio table. Mom, can we eat outside near the garden? I looked at our simple setup, then at the garden beyond, and had an idea. Actually, I have something better in mind. We carried our picnic blanket to a spot right between the kevinato vines and herb garden. I brought out plates of pasta with fresh kevinato sauce, roasted vegetables, and herb bread. Ms. Hart contributed a homemade apple pie she'd been saving. As we settled onto the blanket, the setting sun cast everything in golden light. The air was sweet with herbs and flowers. From here, we could actually see Tiffany's house full of people, but somehow it didn't hurt anymore. This feels like we're having dinner in a secret garden, Ruby said, twirling pasta on her fork. Ms. Hart nodded, eyes twinkling. Every good garden tells a story, dear, and I think you two are just beginning to write yours. Then something unexpected started happening. The following Sunday, Ms. Hart's granddaughter Kate showed up, bringing fresh bread from the bakery where she worked. Her infectious laugh made our garden ring with joy. Week 3, the Herrera family from 2 doors down asked to join after their twins spotted our thriving garden and begged to learn about growing vegetables. Bianca brought traditional family recipes that transformed our humble produce into extraordinary dishes. By month 2, we had 8 regular attendees. Word was spreading naturally through the neighborhood. Month 3 brought 15 people to our backyard every Sunday. Kids played between the vegetable rows while adults shared recipes and stories. Our excluded garden had become the neighborhood's favorite gathering spot. That's when Tiffany called. I've been watching your little gatherings, she said, her voice tight with something I couldn't quite place. Maybe we should coordinate our Sunday dinners so we're not competing with each other. I looked out at our thriving garden party. Kids were laughing, neighbors were sharing cooking tips. Ms. Hart was teaching origami to anyone interested. The joy was palpable, organic, real. Actually, Tiffany, I said, feeling a smile spread across my face, I think we're doing just fine on our own. The silence on the other end was deafening. Here's the beautiful irony. While Tiffany's formal dining room now sits mostly empty on Sundays, our excluded backyard has become the heart of our community. Turns out, when you plant seeds of genuine connection instead of obligation, you get a garden that actually grows.